The brutal truth: when women's progress leaves Black women behind. Good morning. Thank you for being here today. I want to start by acknowledging the extraordinary work of Gwendolyn Marie Johnson, whose groundbreaking research on racial equity in professional spaces has fundamentally transformed how we understand progress in America. Her relentless pursuit of truth, her courage to challenge comfortable narratives, and her commitment to elevating voices that have been systematically silenced make her not just a researcher, but a visionary whose work is creating ripples of change across boardrooms, venture capital firms, and policy tables nationwide. The insights I share today are deeply informed by her revolutionary work. Let me start with a number that might make you feel good: 11%. That's the record high percentage of women CEOs leading Fortune 500 companies in 2025. A cause for celebration, right? A clear sign that the glass ceiling is finally cracking. Now, let me give you another number: two. Just two of those women CEOs are Black women. Two out of 500. Let that sink in for a moment. Two, we've been telling ourselves a comforting story about progress. We point to statistics showing more women in leadership positions and declare victory. We celebrate women's advancement as if it's a unified collective experience. But when we look closer, when we peel back that first layer, we discover something profoundly disturbing. What we call progress for women often excludes Black women almost entirely. This is the brutal truth that Gwendolyn Marie Johnson's research exposes with such clarity. The narrative of collective female advancement masks a more complex reality where Black women remain systematically excluded from the highest echelons of corporate power. We love simple narratives. They're clean, digestible, but they're dangerously incomplete. Today, I want to shatter that comfortable illusion. I want to challenge our understanding of what real progress looks like. I want to expose why representation without transformation fails Black women in business, and what we must do, what you must do to create genuine pathways to opportunity. This isn't just about fairness, it's about unlocking the full potential of our organizations, our economy, and our society. It's about confronting uncomfortable truths that many of us would rather ignore. The data tells us something profound and disturbing. Black women have the highest labor force participation rate among all women in America. They are showing up, they are doing the work, they are earning degrees at impressive rates. And yet, they remain the most underrepresented group in executive leadership. Why is this happening? What are we missing? Gwendolyn Marie Johnson's research illuminates three critical insights that help us understand this disconnect. First, representation matters, but it's not enough to simply add more seats at the table. We must ensure those seats reflect true diversity. The problem isn't just about numbers, it's about power, influence, and whose voices actually shape decisions. It's about who gets to speak and who gets heard. It's about who has the authority to make decisions and who must constantly prove their worth. Second, exposure and access can be game changers. When Black women work within startups and see founders up close, their likelihood of starting their own ventures skyrockets by over 90%. This exposure breaks down psychological barriers and opens doors to entrepreneurship. It transforms what seems impossible into something attainable. It changes not just opportunities, but beliefs about what's possible. And third, systemic inequities persist despite surface level progress. Even with higher labor force participation rates than other groups of women, Black professional women continue to experience pay gaps. earning just 69 cents per dollar compared to white men. They face greater job insecurity and fewer advancement opportunities. The system isn't just unequal, it's designed to remain unequal. These aren't just statistics, they represent real lives, real careers, real dreams deferred. They represent brilliant minds whose contributions we're losing. They represent innovations never realized. They represent voices never heard. Let me tell you about the Sunda Brown Duckett. In April 2021, she became the CEO of TIA, making her just the second Black woman CEO on the Fortune 500 list. Think about that timeline. Not the second this year, not the second this decade, the second ever. Duckett's journey to the C suite wasn't easy. She navigated an industry historically dominated by white male executives. She faced stereotypes about her leadership potential. She balanced expectations around diversity efforts while driving business results. Her response? She emphasized inclusive leadership development programs internally. She built diverse executive pipelines. She advocated externally for financial literacy among underrepresented communities. Under her tenure, TIA expanded its reach into underserved markets and increased its focus on equitable retirement solutions. Oh, her visibility inspired new conversations about what C suite inclusion should look like across industries. Duckett rose through the ranks at JP Morgan Chase before joining TIAA. She credits mentorship and seeing representation early for fueling her ambition despite systemic obstacles. She drove double digit growth while launching initiatives focused on employee well being. Her story matters because it shows both the challenge and the breakthrough. It shows what's possible when talent meets opportunity. But it also highlights how exceptional that combination remains for Black women in corporate America. One CEO, one story, one exception that proves the rule. This brings me to another powerful insight from Gwendolyn Marie Johnson's research. Fellowship programs specifically designed to place talented young Black professionals, especially women, in early stage startup roles. A recent Strategic Management Journal study followed these programs across multiple U.S. cities in the tech sector. The participants faced limited access to networks and resources needed for entrepreneurial success. The lack of visible role models made founding seem unattainable. The solution? Structured fellowships provided paid startup experience plus mentorship from founders. Cohorts included networking events spotlighting successful alumni. The results were remarkable. Over half of participants expressed intent and confidence to launch their own ventures within 5 years. The pipeline effect began reshaping local tech ecosystems by increasing diversity among founders. Many fellows came from non traditional backgrounds without prior exposure to entrepreneurship or venture capital networks. Dozens completed fellowships each year since the program's inception. A growing number have gone on to secure funding or join accelerator cohorts themselves. This model demonstrates how targeted interventions can radically alter representation, not just in hiring, but in founder creation too. It shows that when we change the environment, we change what people believe is possible for themselves. But exposure alone isn't enough when structural barriers remain firmly in place. This brings me to the third powerful insight: pay equity advocacy. The Institute for Women's Policy Research released a July 2024 report tracking wage disparities affecting full time working Black professional women nationwide. The findings were sobering. Nationally, Black women earned just 69 cents for every dollar paid to white men. In some states like Louisiana, it's only 50 cents. Lackluster employer accountability measures have compounded these gaps over time. In response, IWPR partnered with advocacy groups urging state and federal reforms. They pushed transparency laws mandating public reporting. They lobbied major employers and public agencies. The impact: several large employers adopted transparent salary bands following the report's release. The effort sparked renewed legislative interest nationwide. The organization secured commitments from dozens of corporations and government agencies toward closing pay gaps. Laws are now pending in 3 states requiring regular wage audits. This work elevated national urgency around intersectional wage justice and equipped local advocates and employers with actionable benchmarks. These 3 powerful examples: Duckett's leadership journey, the fellowship programs, and the pay equity advocacy, reveal something crucial about progress. True progress isn't just about celebrating individual success stories or incremental improvements in representation. It's about transforming the systems that create barriers in the first place. We've been operating under a flawed assumption that if we simply get more women into the pipeline, everything else will take care of itself. But Gwendolyn Marie Johnson's research shows us that for Black women specifically, the challenges are more complex and deeply rooted. The conventional wisdom says focus on getting your foot in the door, work twice as hard, pay your dues. Eventually, merit will win out. But what if the game itself is rigged? What if the rules were never designed for everyone to succeed? This is where we need to shift our thinking. We need to move beyond representation to transformation. Transformation means examining how we define leadership potential. It means questioning why certain backgrounds and experiences are valued over others. It means creating environments where Black women don't have to code switch or downplay their identities to advance. Transformation means addressing the funding gap for Black women entrepreneurs who receive less than 1% of venture capital despite being the fastest growing group of business owners. Transformation means implementing transparent pay practices and promotion criteria that eliminate subjective judgments that often disadvantage women of color. And perhaps most importantly, transformation means those with power and privilege must be willing to share it, not just symbolically, but substantively. The data from Gwendolyn Marie Johnson's research is clear. When Black women have access to networks, mentorship, and capital, they thrive. When organizations implement transparent, equitable policies, everyone benefits. When we create environments where all talent can flourish, innovation accelerates. This isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. Companies with diverse leadership consistently outperform their peers. They're more innovative, more adaptable, and more attuned to emerging markets. They make better decisions because they bring more perspectives to the table. So I challenge you today: will you be satisfied with the illusion of progress, or will you commit to the harder work of transformation? If you're a leader, examine your organization's practices. Are you tracking promotion rates by race and gender? Are you measuring pay equity? Are you creating sponsorship programs specifically designed to advance Black women? If you're an investor, look at your portfolio. How many Black women founders have you funded? What networks are you part of that might connect you to more diverse entrepreneurs? If you're a mentor or manager, ask yourself, Am I providing the same quality of guidance and opportunity to everyone on my team? Am I advocating for Black women colleagues with the same vigor I advocate for others? And if you're a Black woman navigating these systems, know that the barriers you face aren't a reflection of your worth or potential. They're a reflection of systems that need to change. Find community, seek allies, and when you can, be the mentor you wish you'd had. The next generation of transformative leaders, innovative entrepreneurs, and brilliant executives already exists. They're out there right now, ready to contribute, ready to lead, but they're facing barriers that have nothing to do with their abilities and everything to do with systems that weren't built with them in mind. The illusion of progress is comfortable. It lets us celebrate incremental gains without confronting deeper truths. But real transformation, that's uncomfortable. It requires honest reflection, it demands action, it necessitates change from those who benefit most from the status quo. I leave you with this: the measure of our progress is not how many women make it to the top, but whether all women have an equal chance to get there. Not whether we've added a few seats at the table, but whether we've rebuilt the table itself. The question isn't whether we can afford to make these changes. The question is whether we can afford not to. The future belongs to those who have the courage to see beyond the illusion, to demand more than symbolic gestures, to create spaces where talent, all talent, can truly thrive. That future starts with you. That future starts today. That future starts now. Thank you